On my way to an advanced screening of Stephen King's It. Yes, indeed. As far as the masses are concerned, this is probably the most in-demand movie of the entire year for hardcore fans. Maybe not so much. Regardless, we did do the trailer reaction. It's in the comment section below. It was incredibly well viewed. There's a lot of interest in this movie, so let's check it out. Alright, I know this doesn't look like the regular videos. It's kind of a makeshift. Like I said, I just came home right from the movie and wanted to get this out to you. So, word of advice up front, this is spoiler-filled review. If you haven't seen the movie yet, go check it out, then come on back. Alright. You're here, so that means you've seen the movie, and just so we're all on the same page, it's basically the story of a group of friends that living in a town. One of them's little brother is taken, basically, by Pennywise, you know, the evil clown. Here, take it. And they basically go on a quest to try to find him. Along the way, they grow and mature. Oh, and get horribly stalked by a clown. Okay, so we start out with the likes, and I've actually got quite a few on this one, believe it or don't. So, right off the bat, one of my big major concerns going into this movie was that being an American production, it was gonna pull its punches on the fact that the kids in this movie are I think like 12, 13, 14 years old, you know, somewhere in that range, and all the inherent things that go along with being that age in regards to sex and relationships and everything else that's going on during that time frame, the confusion, the hormones, all of it. Now, generally speaking, in America, there's a couple of rules. You don't have horrible bad things happen to kids. And any suggestion, overt or otherwise, of underage sex, oh well, that's super controversial, even though it happens every day all over the country. Alright, so what does this movie do? Well, boom, right off the bat, first frickin' scene, man. We rip a little boy's arm off and you see the fucking stump and the blood and everything. I'm like, boom, we're here, alright? They're gonna say F that to our little prohibition on, you know, the kid. Boom, here it is. Okay, cool, fine. Boom, not too much later in the movie, to be honest with you. We got a scene of all the kids at the quarry getting ready to, you know, dare each other to jump in their whitey-tighties, nothing else. Chick shows up, strips down to her bra and giant granny panty, which obviously they had to do that. And boom, next thing you know, they're all in the quarry water, splashing around, having a good time.
I think the universe revolves around you.
Next thing you know, she's laying on a rock and they're all staring at her, which is what would fucking happen, right? Because they're all horned up dudes. So cool, finally, that's it. I mean, you don't have to go all blatant and you know, hardcore or nothing, but just acknowledge it, and this movie actually did that. So kudos to them for that. I'll definitely give them credit. I also have to give credit, because I gripe on this a lot, on the kids actors, the kid actors. By and large, kid actors are horrible. That's just the way it is, right? And these kid actors were very, very good. You know, varying degrees, of course, but like, say the core three, you know, the main guy, the chick Beverly, and then the guy with the glasses. And I apologize, like I said, I'm doing this right after the movie's over. I'm not looking any of this stuff up. I just gotta get this out there. Those three were super, super strong, very convincing, loved them. That was a great casting, great job, and kudos to them, because generally speaking, kid actors are horrible. So, then we get to kind of the, you know, movie itself, and I'm gonna have to throw this out in advance, right? Okay, not read the books. Haven't read the books, don't know a damn thing about them, alright? As such, when this movie's being crafted, I think the filmmakers have to accept that not everybody has. Okay, I know it's popular, I know it's Stephen King, I know they frickin' made the miniseries in the 90s with Tim Curry. It doesn't matter. Okay, you don't make $500 million or $1 billion off of fans. That's just a fact. Accept it. Okay, so they're going to have to pull in people like me who don't know squat about this. Honestly, I don't even remember the 90s thing. Okay, except for Tim Curry. It was a bit silly. So boom, they go right out of the gate without a ton of exposition, and that was great for me. Okay, I didn't have to have everything spilled out. They did a little bit of exposition, but not a lot. I suspect some of it was a setup that will be paid off in the second movie. Okay, but again, it was just like boom, kid's arms ripped off, he's taken, and we go. We're off to the races, and I really appreciated that. So as we're going along, we got to have your sort of horror-ish type things, and remarkably, they were all done very, very well, including but not limited to some really great jump scares. I'm hypercritical of jump scares, you know that. They did them very well. I myself got caught a couple times, the theater every single time. Really, really great.
Saw him too.
And then I gotta say that at the beginning of Annabelle Creation, if you saw it in the theaters, they played the first 4 minutes of this movie, minus the scene with the kid's arm getting ripped off. Primarily the back and forth between Pennywise and Georgie, I guess. And it was what really frightened me about this movie. Okay, it really did. Pennywise was not scary in the least bit during that 4-minute session. So, the rest of the movie, the writers were very, very smart. Pennywise barely talked, and that was key. That was essential, because then he just got to be this frightening presence, and that worked perfectly. There was a ton of scenes, everything from him, you know, contorting out of the wall area to, you know, again, the well-placed jump scares, and there was even, it was subtle. And again, I might have been the only one that appreciated it, but I have to say this was one of the better scenes for me personally, whereby Pennywise was kind of fundamentally not in, I guess, the clown form. He was in the form of the warped woman from the painting, and she retreats into like an alcove, and you just see the hand of her, and without any kind of break or cut, you know, Pennywise comes out. The hand never changes or moves. Brilliant. It's small, subtle, but I really liked it. So again, a lot of really good things, really well done in this. So I had a few dislikes in this one. Not really big, major, huge ones, I gotta admit, but they definitely were there. Starting with, okay, so again, didn't read anything about the books, didn't know anything about them. Went and saw it with a group of individuals who had seen, two people who did read the books, okay? We got into a little bit of more details about some of the things, some of the characters, etc. after it was over with, and obviously what, to those who have read the book, know, is it dealt a lot with ideas and concepts of abuse. The bully, this movie had bullies. I love bullies. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bullies, so good. The bullies in this movie, the main bully, quote unquote, the cop's kid, suffered abuse at the hands of the cop. And then the big one, of course, the girl, you know, Beverly, had suffered abuse at the hands of her father. Well, those themes were kind of pulled back in this. And like I said, this was rated R. They didn't pull back on any of the child, you know, getting ripped off of the arm or the sex. And so why pull back on the themes of abuse? It really would have created a much higher impact, I think, you know, to these characters. And I get we're condensing down a much larger work. But really, I mean, you know, the characters are done well, and just those subtle little things would have given it a little extra oomph. So that was kind of a for me. Then there was, I guess, what I would call two missing whys. And one was, why is Pennywise doing what he's doing the way he is? Now, the answer, of course, is, oh, well, that's because there's a second movie, they'll explain it then. I have said this a million times, and I'm going to say it again. You don't make movies operating on the idea that people are going to wait and see a second one or a third one. Okay, this is not television shows. All right? You just don't do it. Everything should be self-contained. And if you're going to leave things open and you're going to leave cliffhangers, do it smartly and in moderation. Don't have major plot points left open. There's going to be people that disagree with me on that. Okay, but the sad fact of the matter is there is no guarantee that this movie would have been a success. There isn't. I'm sure it will be. There's no guarantee. And if this movie was not a success and there was not funds to make the second one, then you would have an extra disappointment. So again, minor, but it should be there. A second why, and this was a big one, again, probably because you're condensing down to such a large volume of work, but you establish through a few scenes, and one big one, that the children have finally, the kids, the preteen, what the fuck you want to call them, have split. They're pissed off, they're angry, they reach their breaking point. The black kid barely even knows them. You know, he's been on one little tiny adventure. You know, the fat kid's only been there a week or two. And then, you know, a month later, you know, they took the girl. All right, well, I'll join you. And it's that simple, right? Literally, the guy walks into the arcade, you know, guy with the glasses is playing Street Fighter, says to him, I imagine the guy I'm kicking the shit out of is you. And he goes, oh, they took Bev. And the next scene, like, you know, all 5, 6, whatever the hell it is, are riding their bikes up to the spooky house. No. You need a little bit more, okay? You know, I mean, that just, I get that they're young, but even they weren't all obsessed with the girl. I mean, one or two of them were, but, you know, that just kind of fell apart with me. Last, certainly not least, the scene at the end where Bev's all floaty in the air because she's, you know, being held there by the ill-defined supernatural powers of it. And they pull her down. Okay, that's like a bit hokey, but I'll let you have it. And then she's revived or snapped out of it or whatever else by the kiss from the fat kid. Okay, the Sleeping Beauty narrative doesn't work in the least bit. All right, I guess in some ways it's kind of two complaints. First, its powers are ill-defined. So, you know, I get that fear it feeds and thrives off of, but what are its in fact powers? And limited power. It has the power to mimic people. It has the power to show up in slide projectors. But what's with the floating? Because obviously the idea or the concept is that he captures kids, puts them in the floaty little house thing, and alive, and feeds off their fear, as they were doing to her. But how is he defying gravity? You know, is it, you know, and then like, how strong is his hold? Is it strong enough that a kiss from some guy she's not interested in is enough to wake her up? I don't know. Would a slap sufficed? You know, that was a bit much. I grant and accept that all of these were kind of minor things, but they succeeded in ripping me out of the narrative and my willing suspension of disbelief, so they're definitely making my list. It is Pinhead time. Obviously no co-host here to compare notes with and to get kind of an average. So it's just gonna be what it is to be. You know, last minute advanced screening, just couldn't get anybody, so deal with it. Alright, that being said, as I did walk into this very concerned and walked out very happy, I have to acknowledge that there were negatives. They were not overwhelming, they weren't tremendous. So, bottom line, and it's a little bit to my surprise, quite honestly, I'm gonna give this adaptation of It 4 pinheads. That's right, this is a 4 pinhead movie. Well, it did not hit the fan as I was concerned that it might. So, what did you guys think? Please let me know in the comment section below. Give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. You guys know what to do.